to talk about it, so let's go. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. I don't know. I don't know if I'll be as ready as Titans in Truth, man. I mean, that guy was fired up on some certain points tonight, but I'll try to bring my best. Again, I'll go to the main screen for this one. If you are looking for me to get on here and talk about how the Tennessee Titans are going 17-0, you don't know me well enough, because you know that's not going to happen, right? I know I don't have NGB talk by my side tonight to kind of calm me down on some of these. JDW Sports Talk Show, hey, thanks for being here. He says he's a Colts fan. Titans are going to be tough to beat. You know what? It's going to come down to us. I really firmly believe that. Of course, injuries can always happen. We know that. But it's going to come down to the Titans. It's going to come down to the Colts. And you know what? I thought we'd play Week 18. It's not going to happen. But anyways, we'll get to that later. So thanks for stopping by. Again, if you're expecting me to go 17-0, I'm not the guy for you. I'm sorry, okay? I pride myself on being realistic. I pride myself on giving you the best that I know. I pride myself on me building as much content and putting as much effort and much research into it. I'm kind. I try to reach out to the Titans community. I love those guys. I love each and every one of them that put team first, that are about the team. So shout out to, and I shout them out all the time, Titans in Truth, Tennessee Titans Weekly, Ken Moore, Mr. Titan, NGB Talk, Two Tone Zone, Titans Wheeze and Mario. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The Coach Plays. And again, Titans in Truth, if I didn't mention him already, or Ken Moore and Mr. Titan and those guys. Again, that's why I love this community. That's why I love them. But I am not the guy to go 17-0. That's just not me. Do I hope the Titans go 17-0? Heck yeah, I do. Heck yeah. But I want to be realistic as well. 17-game schedule is going to be tough for anybody to go 17-0. We know New England went basically 18-0, couldn't finish it off against the Giants in the Super Bowl. But I'm telling you, let's just go. I think we can go to the Super Bowl. I think we can make it happen. 17-0, though. I don't want injuries, and I don't want any of that, and I just want to be realistic. Hunter, I think, agrees with me. So let's dive into the schedule and get to your comments. Here we go. Right away, this broke this morning. You know, stuff was starting to trickle out last night, the Bears and the Rams Week 1, and now we know why, because basically this morning, all the news outlets, NBC, CBS, Fox, ESPN, NFL Network, they all had the ability to give you Week 1, and these have kind of broken down throughout the day. So, Cardinals, we got that early in this morning. I think it's a good matchup for the Titans. We'll dive into each individual game, and you guys can comment wins, losses. We're not going to do it yet today. In our initial thought process, when we did this back a few months ago, I had the Titans 10-7. Now that the schedule's out, now that the draft has happened, we got Farley, and all this stuff, I'm definitely probably going to change my mind. Let's just be honest. However, I will want to research this stuff before I give you my honest prediction. I do. It's a lot of work, but I'm going to do it, because what else do I have to do this summer? Break down each team, all 32 teams. We tried to do it last year. We tried to do it live. I think I might do it off live and just do them like 12 to 15 minute videos, previews for you guys, and then we can talk about probably divisions every week or something like that. We'll figure it out. So thanks again for stopping by and hitting that like button. Then we go to Seattle, place we don't traditionally play well, West Coast. Then we get the Colts game, which I think that game is huge. That game is big. The Colts will come in off 2 home games. They'll play the Seahawks, and then they play the Seahawks Week 1, and then they play the Rams Week 2, and both those games are at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. So that's going to be huge. Colts come in 0-2, that'd be great. But if they come in 1-1, that game's very, very important Week 3 for the Titans. Then we go play Wilson, right? We get him early. That's a key. Getting some of these rookie quarterbacks early. He's one. Trevor Lawrence, Week 5. That's at Jacksonville. You know, it's early. That's good. Vrabel, he'll be ready to go for that one. And, you know, maybe Shane Bowen. Who knows? But the Titans' defense is going to be better this year. I'm confident on that. Week 6, Monday Night Football. That one gets Buffalo. A little rematch from last year. Buffalo will come back with a little, you know, their revenge on their mind, let's just say. So I know for Buffalo, they probably don't care too much about the Titans. But I think from what happened to them last year, they should. Then that Kansas City game. Then Indianapolis, then the Rams on Sunday Night Football week 9. I mean, that is tough. We'll dive more into that later, but week 6 through 9, very, very tough. Saints, they'll have Jameis Winston at the helm, or who knows who they'll have. Maybe Breeze will be back out of retirement. Who knows? But the Saints defense is really, really good, and they got some offensive weapons. Kamara and Michael Thomas. I mean, the Saints will be a decent football team. Then we got week 11 through 18. Now, this is somewhat of a Ken Moore was all over this morning. When are the Titans going to play the Texans with the whole Deshaun Watson situation? But if you're looking at it, week 11 through week 18, if everything plays out and Watson, all those stories, there's rumors now that they're going to settle and they're working on that, and we haven't heard a whole lot more. The number definitely hasn't went up, but I mean, it was relatively high at 22 to start with. But let's say that gets kind of cleared up. He will probably be back then by week 11, right? Through 18. The question is, will it matter? We'll get into that later, but will it matter? Then you move on to week 12, New England. Ken Moore brought up a great point. New England will have play the Thursday night the week before New England, so they'll have 10 days rest for that game and at home. Bye week, we'll talk about that later. Do you guys excited about bye week 13? Are you not excited? Too late? I'd rather have it too late than too early. Then we play off the bye, Jacksonville. Then Pittsburgh, then the game I'm most excited about because I actually can go to a Thursday night football game. So we're going to have to find somebody to do the watch party. But anyways, week 16, 49ers, who are coming off a short trip, right? They play Sunday night. We'll get into that later. Or not Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, and then they have to fly. And then Miami, and then finish up for the third year in a row with the Texans. Third year in a row. So I just want to put this on there one more time and then get to your comments now. So thanks again for being here. We're already at 50 likes. We're crushing it. So let's keep it going. Let's get to your comments again. Life of Devontae. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Indiana Sports Talks. We beat the Titans week 3 and beat the Seahawks start 2-1. You better, right? Because if you don't and you start 1-2 or heck 0-3 with that schedule at Miami week 4, at Baltimore, and then you get a little bit of a break, and then you're at San Francisco. That's a tough schedule. And I know a lot of Colts fans are very optimistic. And if Carson Wentz struggles out of the gates, the Colts are going to have a little bit of concern on their hands. But the Titans can definitely help you by giving you 2 wins. And that's really going to put the Titans at a disadvantage with weeks 6 through 9, as you can see, are going to be very, very tough. Sin City Titan might actually get to meet him. And, going to some games this year is going to be exciting after all the sickness stuff last year. So hopefully maybe we can meet up for those of you guys, meet for the first time, all that stuff. I see you guys all the time. It'd be fun to hang out with you guys at the Titans game. Evil Duck in the house. His first 5 games, we can easily go 5-0 or 2-3. I think it's going to be very interesting. When does Farley play? Truth and Ken Moore, I think he's playing week 1. Me and Mr. Titan, not so sure on that. I think Vrabel's more cautious. You could say cautiously optimistic, but I think Vrabel will make sure he's 110% before they throw Farley out there. And to be completely honest, I brought this to Ken Moore's attention as well. And Ken makes a great point. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, how many Super Bowls were won in week 1? That's my argument. But Farley's going to be huge for this Tennessee Titans defense. Just huge. Caleb Farley's going to be a stud. I totally agree with you. You guys aren't on with Wentz. Life of Devontae already giving. If you guys want to give predictions and your records, that's totally cool. We're going to break down each game as we go through this. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. If you guys have any comments, let us know. We'll open up the phone lines here in about 5 minutes if you guys want to call in periodically. Mr. Producer said that he would hang around for 20, 25 extra minutes. Titans Talk, I saw a stat, top speed with Farley higher than Tyreek Hill. Jay says, I don't know if the offense is good enough. And that's the one thing I'm going to harp on a lot, Jay, and thank you for bringing that to our attention. Wide receiver number 2 and tight end number 1. I'm not saying we should be worried, but I am concerned. And you're not going to be able to unconcern me about Reynolds as a number 2, which he hasn't proven that yet. He's proven he's a decent 3. Hasn't proven he's a decent 2. And then we also have to go with Ferkser. It was exciting to see Ferkser, Mason Kinsey, and Logan Woodside working out yesterday. That's exciting. Logan Woodside actually looks pretty good now. But Ferkser, catching the ball's never been an issue for me. It's blocking and moving him up to tight end number 1. He's going to have to block. People are getting on Tim Tebow. How can he block and this kind of stuff? And I get it. It's not that easy. That's the one concern I would have with Tebow being how old he is. I bet you didn't think I'd get Tebow in this presentation, huh? But anyways, the issue is going to come down to, can he block well enough to actually have a chance to make that roster? Ferkser is making the roster. The question is he going to play his traditional role where he is a great third down and he's a great pass catcher, or is Ferkser going to be the role of Jonnu Smith, play a little H-back, play up on, at the end of the line, obviously run routes and stuff like that? That's going to be the concern with the blocking. We'll get to that later. Life of Devontae is just bringing him here. 52-10 over the Jets. Quentin, what's going on? Good to see you. Jonathan says we have to compete against the Jags and the Colts because Wentz is bad. Spicy says, I think we're getting suspended for a hole. Let's get 50 likes. Yeah, it would be awesome. We are at 50 likes. We are crushing it. Jason says 12-5. I think we'll pick up a tight end. That's a good point. We could. Quentin said, yeah, we could get 500. Let's do it. Right? I mean, why not? We got 400 once. Titans talk. Watson. Lando says 10-7, 11-6. Let's see. Hey, Solomon, what's going on? Good to see you. Monty says 11-6. Matthew says, sweet, the season. Yes, against Watt. Let's go right off the bat. He will be healthy. We're going to connect it. Yeah, we are. Hopefully at that 49ers game. We'll keep you posted. I'll talk to Michael. Michael said he's got your contact info. Miners Access 28, Steelers 3. Cody 14-3 for the Music City. Jory says week 6 through 9 is going to be very, very tough. And as long as we can take care of business, Jacksonville, Houston, win 6 or 7 other games, we should get it. And we'll get to that. Cody says Tebow. Unknown says 14-3 to them doubters. I don't know. Probably from his connections. I don't know if he'll make the team, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. We'll just talk Titans tonight. But it's my fault. I'm the one that brought it up. Allie, the Gator. Can't wait to see week 11 versus the Texans. Brandon in the house. I think we need another move or two before training camp. All I want is a Christmas Super Bowl. That's what I want as well. Steve says this is going to be a tough season. Why are all the good seats at home already expensive? I haven't even looked yet, Keisha, but that's a good point. There's some really quality home games. It will be interesting. And as far as I know, I mean, they kind of given the okay. I know the governor's given the okay, and that they're going to have full expectations of having stands and full stands. Probably still have to wear masks, unfortunately. But it looks like you're going to have full stadiums, full capacity, at least for Nashville. But I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot. When you're a season ticket holder and you don't know what's going on for those games. I mean, a lot of planning, especially for me, not living in Nashville. Gino says, anybody selling tickets, tighten up. And now, you know what? I will use this platform to help those in need as far as that goes. I know I'm not supposed to do that and stuff like that, but we will build a community where maybe we can do it on some sort of social media where we can get you guys in, or we could even do it on Flick Chat possibly. We still are using Flick Chat, believe it or not. Where, you know what, if we have some people that can't go or something like that, we can kind of have that community. And, we'd rather have Titan fans than non-Titan fans, right? Because we know the Bills fans are already searching, right? What's up, Michael? So, Miss Luke's in the house. Definitely want to go to a game to see Tannehill and Reynolds play as Texas A&M fan. Yeah, it'd be nice to maybe go to the week, 17 game against the Dolphins. You get to see them even play against their old team. Tickets are ridiculous right now. Yes, they are, but they'll come down. It's just kind of the heat of the moment, but we'll get into that later. So with that being said, just remember with the new flex rules, I'm not sure which week it is, but pretty much anything can take place after week 7 or something like that, where Monday Night Football and Sunday Night Football games are going to be flex. We know Sunday night games can be flex, but also this year they're going to try something different with Monday night. Vampiric, wanted to let you know that you're in here now. I will reach out to you. You are the big winner So when we did that whole symbol thing, you, my friend, I'm going to send Kenneth your contact information. And I'll tell you what, the Titans, I think, are up to like 32, 33 last I checked. So shout out to you, Vampiric, and thanks for playing for everybody else. So I am going to turn the phone lines on. If you guys want to call in as we start this party off, it's going to be a fun show. Thanks for being here. I was going to give you my real phone number. That's probably not good, right? So, so we got 615-988-4321. So there it is. And Michael's always really good about sharing that and getting it out. So, Mr. Producer, you got it turned on? All right, so Mr. Producer's ready to go so we can get into this. Let us know about the schedule. You guys can bring up anything you want to talk about as well that relates to the schedule. We're going to keep it on point tonight as we dive in. So the first team we're going to go over, as we know, is going to be our week 1 opponent, the Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals, A to Z sports fan. Shout out to him, as I can't wait to get him on the show and have you guys meet A to Z sports. He's a great friend and a great person. Lives out, obviously, in Arizona. Can't wait to have him on the show and give us the perspective from the Cardinals. So Cardinals come in, we know automatically Butler versus A.J. Brown is going to be the epicenter from this matchup. I'm sorry. Yeah, from the defensive standpoint, with A.J. Brown on our offense going up against Malcolm Butler. On the other end of it, Hopkins. Who's going to stop Hopkins? Is it going to be Jenkins? Is Farley going to play? I don't think he'll play week 1. That's just my opinion. I think he will be out for a while, at least a couple weeks. I think he'll be practicing. I just think they're going to get him in there at some point. So we have a call. Spicy is on line 1. So as soon as I can get this, oh my goodness, headset or whatever you want to call it, I'll put it up there. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Again, if you're just kind of joining us, you want to come back to it later on, go for it, because we are going to take some time. This could be a little bit of a show tonight where we want to dive in at all these. I mean, this is the fun part. This is where I'm excited. Finally get to go over these opponents. We knew the opponents coming in. We did not know when we were playing them. So we do got Spicy on the line, so let's get to him right away. Spicy, thanks so much for calling in Titan Upload. What's on your mind, man?
Doing good. Just going to talk about the schedule.
Sure. Let me put the schedule up one more time so people can see this. So go for it, man.
I'm happy with the 3 primetime games. I'm very scared week 16, though, against the 49ers. They have the best front in the league. And last year, week 16, we got embarrassed in Green Bay. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. Hopefully it's the other way around, and hopefully King Henry can, hopefully show why he's the best running back in the NFL and, kill that 49ers front, even though it's a very good front.
And you know what? I think a lot of it comes down to, so I'm going to ask you this since you're on the line. Would you rather see Trey Lance, week 16, or Jimmy Garoppolo? That's kind of been the debate all day today with Jared Stillman and 102.5 The Game. They were getting into that all day, all afternoon, as they were breaking down the schedule or what it could be. Jimmy G versus Trey Lance. Who do you want to see?
I'd rather see Jimmy G, but it will be Trey Lance in week 16. I'm going to say that right now.
All right, Spicy giving the guarantee. Says it will be Trey Lance. But, hey, thanks for calling in, man. You got an early record prediction that you want to throw at us?
I say 10-7.
Okay. Did you say 10-7 before, too? Yeah. Has it wavered at all?
I did say 10-7 before.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think we still go 10-7, yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Spicy. So, there it is. Spicy bringing the heat already. Week 16, 49ers. Would you rather see Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance? I don't even know. I think if the 49ers is such a good team. We'll get into them later, though. Let's keep on track. We'll talk Cardinals week 1. So this game had a possibility of being one of those Thursday night matchups, maybe a late game, so to speak, on a Sunday, maybe. But what's honestly one thing I didn't really realize is, like, we don't play on Fox at all this year. So we have no games on Fox. They're all on CBS. Most of them are at noon. We do, like I said, have the 3 primetime games. But, yeah, all on CBS. So hopefully you guys all got CBS or can get it, so you can watch these guys play. But, the first game is going to tell a lot for the Titans. It's week 1. If we lose, it is what it is. We still got to bounce back. I think you got to be 2-1 after the first 3 weeks. One of you already mentioned that with the Colts. You think the Colts possibly be 2-1. We play the Colts week 3. We got to win at least 2 out of these 3, I think, to keep up. Colts got a really tough schedule. We know this. But our schedule, it's tough in times as well, especially when we get to week 6. So when we look at the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, he's a mobile quarterback. Hopkins always gives us fits. But here's the question, and I don't have the answer to this right now, as I know that they're going all in with the rookie middle linebacker that we kind of broke down here on the channel. But anyways, so they're going to go with him and the other guys in the trade block. But what's interesting is can the Arizona Cardinals stop the run? That's my number one question. But I think what we're going to get, and this isn't sponsored by Wendy's. Trust me, it's not sponsored by Wendy's. But I think we're going to get a double stack on, what would you say, A.J. Brown consistently, and they're going to go all out to stop Derrick Henry. So that's why I think wide receiver number 2 is huge, Reynolds. It does help me, though, that Reynolds did play in this division, so that's a plus, but I still think it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens. Did you hang up the phone line? Okay, just making sure. But yeah, like I said, Cardinals, week 1, what do you think? I think it's going to be a tough game, but the Titans got to win it. The Titans got to win this because if we're on this Super Bowl window, you're playing at home. Vrabel is very good with playing teams that he gets a lot of time to prepare for. You can't use the Miami game when it went 7.5 hours. I thought they had a pretty decent game plan, and then Mariota got hurt. I think they would have won that game. Then Cleveland, the hype around Cleveland. Cleveland's so good. They're going to do all that stuff. Delaney Walker was the most fired up I've ever seen him, and that's even including Super Bowls and all that other stuff, about beating the Browns, right? Beating the Browns. And the team was all bought in, and Vrabel did it well. They didn't beat the Browns. They just squashed them. They did really, really well. And then last year, let's not forget last year. Last year was a tough situation to play Denver, where they've not lost in the first 2 weeks of the season for I don't know how many years. And the Titans, oh my goodness, we're getting multiple calls here. So the Broncos, and that was a late Monday night game. So Vrabel, how many missed field goals? Still pulled out a win. Titans started 1-0 last year. I think the Titans will be ready. Sin City Titans on the line. Let's get to him now. We'll switch screens. We'll go back to the schedule. Sin City Titan, man, what's going on? So you're going to the 49ers game, you think? Oops. There you are.
My
Sorry,
goal
man.
is to go out and meet him out there. I think that'd be super cool. So I got to make it to a game in Nashville this year. Haven't done it yet, so that's the goal this year.
That looks like a great game for me, just for the ability that I can actually go. Usually Thursday night games, as I mentioned on Mr. Titans channel, almost impossible. Besides the 49ers game, I know you were kind of calling in the show, but one more quick question. Like your first initial takes, the primetime games. I mean, what are you looking for on these schedules? And did you get your answer here now that the schedule's been given to you at 7:00 today, Central Time?
Obviously it's early and there's still a lot to analyze. I haven't broken down every game by game, but to be honest, I kind of agree with your take. I know you and I think Ken Moore mentioned it on one of the other shows that that middle stretch seems to be pretty tough, like that week 10 through 13. Being that we're not used to a late bye week, I think that might be a little different. So I think that's on Vrabel and the coaching staff to have our guys ready for a longer run than we're used to. We've been getting an earlier bye week almost every year. So,
yeah.
But being that we are a playoff team, we need to get used to longer seasons, especially in the 7. Now we got 17 regular games plus playoffs. So that is it week 13 our bye?
Yep, week 13.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're doing a 17-game season plus 4 or 5 playoff games, if you're expecting to go to the Super Bowl, you're going to play 22, 23 games. So that's kind of right in the middle there. So that's about where I would like our bye week to be, in my opinion. I think we can start strong like we did last year. Hopefully we don't have quite the letdown in the middle that we did. But I like the schedule. I like that I'm going to be able to go to the Tampa game with my boy Mike Rossi for the preseason. That's going to be super cool.
Yeah, so we didn't even talk about preseason. So do you want to mention who the Titans are playing in preseason?
To be honest, I just know Tampa week 2. I believe now Chicago's the regular season, right? But no,
Chicago's the last preseason game. Yeah, that's our only home game.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know who we open up with for preseason. I know it's on the road though.
Right. Yeah. I was just stoked to see that I was going to that game too. But no, the regular season. I mean, I still think 11-6, 12-5. I think we're right in that range. A solid playoff team. I feel like we should be pretty good to win the division. I think the Colts are going to be a little underwhelming this year. I don't really buy into wins. I think the Jaguars are going to have some growing pains. They are going to be a good team in the next couple of years, unfortunately, but I think we'll catch them this year. So I really think this. I mean, I hate to say this is our year, but I mean we are kind of in that Super Bowl window. So I think this needs to be the year. You know what I mean?
It's got to be. It's got to be. You know, unless you're gonna say next year. If you say next year, fine. But this year, next year, it's we got to keep taking those steps. You know, got to win a few playoff games for sure.
Yeah. Yep. If it's not next year, things will start falling apart pretty quickly. So I think we've got a pretty good team. I really, really hope somehow we could find some type of tight end. I really think that's kind of the only glaring hole on our team right now is that kind of solid red zone threat outside of A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm pretty happy with the team. Defense, looking at it compared to last year, has taken strides from what it was. And I think the offense has only regressed a little bit, mainly in that tight end position.
Yeah.
I think we've got as good or a better offensive line. I think we've got better running backs. I think Derek and Evans will take a step. So I think we've got more depth at running back to maybe give Henry a little bit of rest in a longer season.
I love the point. I love the point with offense that, you know, I always, you know me, I always focus on wide receiver number 2, and it's not that I don't like Reynolds, but I focus on that, and I focus on tight end number 1. And you made a great point, like offensive line after week 5 of last year, offensive line right now is going to be better than at wherever Lawan exited. This offensive line on paper is better. Even with our rookie right tackle, I really believe that. And you made a great point with running back because McNichols, he is what he is. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say he cost us any games, but I think Evans, getting to see a full load of Evans throughout the year is going to be a huge plus to this Tennessee Titans team.
Yeah, I would love to see him take like a James White type role with the Patriots, just being that safety valve for Tannehill. I mean, we've already got some explosive players that are going to be able to make plays once they get the ball in their hands. But, you know, if they are covered and the defense is focusing on A.J. Brown, things like that, then, you know, that's that little scat back who slips through the cracks and turns those 3-yard dumps into 7, 8, 10-yard gains. But sometimes it's changing the pace for the offense, you know what I mean? So I think that's something that we haven't had. McNichols, I hope. I did like McNichols coming out of college, out of Boise State, but he didn't turn into what I thought he would be. So, but yeah, hopefully Darrington Evans can be. Like I said, I just think we've taken a huge strides forward in defense, and we've only regressed a little bit in offense. I have high hopes for that guy, Dylan Radins.
Yeah,
so I think he's going to could be an actual legitimate starting right tackle at some point. So,
hey, I appreciate you calling in and sharing your wisdom with us. You made some really valid points, and hopefully we'll be seeing you week 16, but maybe, who knows, maybe even sooner than that. So have a good one. And
one of these weeks, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, for sure. See you, Sin City Titan. Good talk, bro. So, again, Sin City Titan bringing some really good information with the offense I didn't really think about. So, but anyways, thanks so much for everything. Mr. Producer he's out. He's going to go to sleep. Hey, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. He's got school early in the morning. So shout out to Mr. Producer as he's a busy guy right now. He's definitely a busy guy. So we have one more real quick. So we'll get Michael on the line. But then we'll get back into this schedule here real quick. Oh my goodness. Trying to do with a producer's job. I don't know if it's going to work. Let me see if hold on. We'll get you. Hey, Michael. Michael's on the line. What's going on, Michael?
What's up? What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, not too bad, man. What's your first initial take of the schedule before we kind of dive more into this thing?
I think it's a pretty tough schedule. I think it's, interesting. We could potentially be playing the 4 QBs. Titans and Truth brought that up on his channel. The 4 first round, 4 QBs out of the first round. I know there was 5 taken, but we could potentially play all of them, including the preseason. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. As far as the actual, and shout out again to Titans and Truth. I mean, he was a busy guy today being on Mr. Titan's channel and his own channel. Shout out to Ken Moore and Mr. Titan himself. But when you listen, you're going to the Bucks game. So I told you, who do we play do you know who we play the first week of preseason?
Atlanta.
Oh, it's Atlanta. Okay, Arthur Smith. That'll be fun. So you're going to the Bucks game. But other than the preseason games, so when you look at this schedule, which game are you most excited about? Just being a fan. I mean, we look at this thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. We look at this thing and, we're all fans and, we got stuff in our minds that we're thinking about when we're talking schedule. I mean, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
The little 5-game stretch there from, the Buffalo to New Orleans, the Buffalo and KC game, I'm super stoked about those. But, man, that's a stretch. You got Buffalo, KC at home, at Indy, at L.A., and then New Orleans at home. If we can get through that stretch and pull, 3 wins out of that, that'd be incredible. It's going to be tough, though.
It's going to be tough. And I'm going to talk about this later on, but I think week 1 through 5 are very important for us to get off to a hot start. Indy's got a tough schedule. And then once we get to week 6, take a breath, do whatever we got to do, right? Take a little bit of a break. I know you don't get a break, but regroup and then attack those next 5 games because they're going to be, like you mentioned, they're going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm stoked about the Sunday night game too. It seems like do you remember the last time we had a Sunday night game? Was it I don't think we've had one in a while.
Last year we played the Packers on Sunday night, and it was really late in the season. And then any other time it's been a playing game, really. You have to go, oh my goodness, maybe all the way back to 2009. I think we opened the season on Thursday night, actually. We were the first game of the year against the Steelers. We lost in overtime. But it's been a long stretch. You are right about that on Sunday night. And I am actually surprised. I didn't think we'd get one this year.
Yeah, and I want to forget that Green Bay game as much as I possibly can.
Good point.
That was horrible. But I'm stoked about the schedule is exciting. It's we're playing a lot of good teams, and those first 5 games, if we can get through those first 5, like say 4-1, and I know you'll break all this stuff down later, but yeah, if we can get through those first 5 games and be solid going into the season, because I heard you on Truth's channel talking about the Colts schedule, and theirs kind of looks like it's flipped. Their tough games are in the beginning, so that's crucial,
Yeah, I mean, the Colts and we'll get into that later too, but, they got 2 tough games at home, and then they play us, and then they're at Miami and at Baltimore. They get a little break, Texans, I think, and then they play at San Francisco, and then they play, I want to say, they play us in week 8. So it's going to be a challenge for them. But if the Titans don't take care of business week 4, week 5, and honestly week 1, the Titans are going to be stretch for stretch with them, and then we know what's on the horizon, man. Week 6 through 9. I'm not saying or week 6 through 10. I'm not saying we can't win those games. I'm not saying we can't run the table. But we don't play well out west week 2, week 9, and the Saints, Winston will be an issue as far as, like, I'm not saying he's an issue where I think he's going to give us fits, but I mean, he's going to be, if he has one of his games that he just like a rabbit out of a hat where he throws 5 touchdowns and 1 interception, I mean, he has offensive weapons now. Let's not forget that. This is not I know he had weapons with the Bucs as well, and they got a decent defense too in New Orleans. So you got that situation, and then obviously, the Colts, we got to. It would be nice to sweep the Colts, but being realistic, we know that we almost always split with them or lose both, realistically, but split with them.
Yep. I just hope our secondary is better this year because, according to last year, a quarterback like Jameis Winston could tear us up if, because he likes to throw the ball, and our secondary was pretty rough other than Malcolm Butler. So, yeah, I mean, it all hinges on defense this year. The offense is going to take a step back, I think, but it all hinges on that D. So. Yep.
Hey, man, thanks again for calling in. I lost my Mr. Producer. I'll say this in all honesty. It would be nice if they did, like, create that time machine thing or the teleport or whatever. We could have just ported you right in here, man, because you would have been great to help co-host the show. So I appreciate all you.
You got to
go for it.
Yeah, man, you got to figure out a way to do it remotely, and I'll take care of you.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. Have a great night, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, and big props to Mini Uploads for all he's done too.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
So,
I'll tell him.
All right.
Tighten up, Michael. So that was Michael, the writer from Fan to Fan Network. Shout out to him. Kelvin, thanks, man. He says, shout out, good luck to this season. Shout out to you too, man. I know both teams are optimistic. I think this is going to be a 2-horse race. No point intended there. But Colts, Titans, I think it's honestly going to come down to them. It could come down to the last week of the season. We're at the Texans. You're at the Jaguars. Both schedules are tough. I'm not going to lie. I mean, both schedules are tough. But I think this division has some upside coming with Jacksonville. We don't know what's going to happen in Houston. But we know the Colts and the Titans both won 22 regular season games combined last year. So for those people on ESPN saying our division's crap, whatever. You know what? It is what it is. So shout out to you, Kelvin. Thanks again. So let's get more into this as we move on. There's going to be no more phone calls. Whose birthday is it? Corey says, shout out from Knoxville, Tennessee. Love the show. Big fan. Hey, tighten up to you, Corey. Upload did the Saints dirty with the old helmet logo. Sorry, man. Sorry. When do you take advantage of the team struggles? You can win more games. His life with Devontae. Yeah, Arthur Smith preseason game, Michael said. What about Rob's in the house? What's going on? Good to see you. Anvil says, imagine not knowing your opponents. Must be pretty bored. Shout out to you, Anvil. Let's see. Alex, how's the gas prices in your area? About $3.19. It's been like that for a little bit, actually. Swaggy Duck says the Colts own you guys. Well, not as of late, but, we did win the division last year. But I get you. I mean, you guys have given us lots of problems. Andrew Luck, 11 or 10-0 versus us. So we know that's definitely an issue. But anyways, I don't think Andrew Luck's walking through that door, and I'm not saying Carson Wentz is that guy. I think the whole season comes down to him. 2020, yes. I don't know. Tim, I agree. Some of these games, but there's always teams that are good on paper, and they're not very good. The Browns a few years ago, I think Cleveland's going to be really good this year. I actually buy into Cleveland. I'm actually glad we don't play Cleveland. I was hoping that the Colts would have played Cleveland. They play the Ravens, which I'm okay with. I think Pittsburgh's going to be the one regressing and moving backwards, but that could be, maybe that's just me. Ryan, what's going on? Ryan did not agree with me on Mr. Titan's channel, but that's okay. He agreed with Truth. Truth and More did have some great points. He says, ramp up that like button, tighten up. Thank you so much. We're almost at 100 likes. You definitely tighten up that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Got a quick ad vote? All right, we're back. Sorry, I don't know what advo is. I was going to say advertisement for myself, but anyways, whatever. Shout out again to Vampiric for winning the free Symbol stock. I will be sending that email over to the CEO of Symbol, and shout out to you, Vampiric, for guessing right on Farley and then winning the little contest with all the people that guessed Farley right, which weren't a lot of people that put into that, but still, hey, it is good. So we started in week 1 with the Cardinals. I think we're ready to move on from that. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to, can the Cardinals stop the run, and then how good is our defense really, truly going to be? We're really going to invest a lot, I think, on Weaver. So hopefully that situation clears up. I mean, I hope he doesn't miss any games, and I hope he's telling the truth of what happened, or we should say didn't happen, because I think he's going to be counted on this year as a rotational piece, especially to give Dupree and Landry a little bit of time. I mean, you got Wyatt Ray in there. For all the stuff I say about Wyatt Ray, I hope they really do dress at least 4 or 5 pass rushers and kind of rotate them in. Dupree with the ACL and stuff like that, will he play week 1? I'm still not sure on that one. But we saw what happened with Landry. And I know this show's not about what Landry is and 95%, but so we got week 1. So, again, you can comment. We're going to dive down to all these teams. We're going to pick it up now. No more phone calls. We'll just do some chats. So, thanks again for being here and being a part of this. Like I said, I'm pumped. I hope you guys are. 3 primetime games. Might get to go to that week 16 game because it's on a Thursday, but I'll be done. So, yeah, hopefully no DUI is correct, Lunchbox. Hopefully no DUI. All right, Jameson in the house. Okay, I'm here late, but let's tighten up. Hey, Jameson, thanks for being here, man. Good to see you. Kang in the house says 9-7-1. Oh, no. Let's see. Lopez says Farley is high risk, high reward. He is, but I think down the line he's going to be very, 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 very good. But you got to be smart with them, and I know Vrabel will be. All right, so let's kind of move into this. Again, we will talk Colts here in a little, well, not in a little bit, but we will kind of sprinkle Colts in, have their schedule pulled up too off to the side so we can kind of run down that as we go, because I think it's a 2-horse race, and I get it. So a lot of you want to be the number 1 seed. A lot of you want to be the number 2 because I think they're going back to that format with only 6 teams making the playoffs. If I'm wrong, let me know on that, but I think we're going back to 6 teams again. And when you really put this in perspective, you got to finish in the top 2 to get that bye, which would be super important. But that bye in week 13 is going to be huge too, especially if it's a late playoff push, so to speak. Comic God, tighten up. And Mr. Titan, the man himself, thanks again for coming on after your show, buddy. Good show. Thanks for the invite. Always a blast to come on your channel. And again, if you're not following Mr. Titan, you're missing out. So definitely head over to Mr. Titan's channel and watch what just transpired in front of us with the schedule. A lot of great points by Ken Moore, Mr. Titan, and Titans in Truth. So let's dive into this. So we got week 1 out of the way for the Cardinals. Again, I think we got to win that game. All right. Now we go on to week 2. And week 2 presents some challenges. We can get into this, but week 2 is going to present some challenges. The first challenge, we don't play well out west. We just don't. If you go back few years ago, I know this is a different team and Mariota was the quarterback, and now we have Tannehill and Derrick Henry is still trying to find himself and all that stuff. They were still trotting out Deion Lewis in that. But, or actually, I take that back. They weren't trotting out Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis came the following year. Yes, I caught myself. Good point. So what I'm trying to say is we went into Arizona. We lost. We were 8-4. Playing Arizona was just awful. And then we went into San Francisco, which was actually really bad that year as well. And we lost that game. Came home, played the Rams at home. Lost that game. The Rams were pretty good that year. And end up having to do a stiff arm from Mariota to beat the Jaguars and then beat the Chiefs in the playoffs and then lost and got pretty much destroyed by the Patriots. That's how that story unfolded. My point is this. If you go back and look at old records and stuff like that, I know that it's about the now. The Titans just don't play well out west. They don't play well. Like, they might win here or there against the Raiders, but it's usually Seattle. It's a tough place to play for anybody. And Russell Wilson, I think Mr. Titan made this a great point on his show. Russell Wilson always starts off really, really well. So I know the situation's uneasy in Seattle. They're not really sure what's going on with Russell Wilson. It looks like it's fixed, but maybe it's not. But the issue is we just don't play well out west. So I think that could give us some fits early. The other issue is, to be completely honest with you, because I think this is very valid and it's very important, I don't honestly see the Seattle Seahawks winning week 1. I don't. I think the Colts will beat them. The Colts are playing, I know they don't always start off hot. Last year they lost to Jacksonville week 1. I think it was a couple years ago. Maybe they lost their home opener. I can't remember factual on that one. But what I would say is Seattle is going to be on a mission. Now, I'm thinking we're going to beat Arizona, so we'll be 1-0, and then we go out west. It's just going to be a tough game. You know, if we win this, it's a bonus game. You know, it's a game I'm not expecting to win. But just like with anything, you guys, you know this, the Tennessee Titans can surprise you in a good way, and they can surprise you in a bad way. Just remember that. Sin City Titan, I'm going to have, if you're going to be a regular call-in guy, I'm going to have to make you a little graphic and so to speak as well, buddy. So just to throw that out there to you. Ricky says, I'm going to the first game in week 16. Hey, Ricky, we'll have to meet up week 16. Like I said, the 49ers game, that one's definitely circled on the calendar as of right now. So, again, season ticket holder. I think tomorrow, maybe my wife and I, are probably this weekend, to be honest with you. We still got to finish up that deck. I know that has got to be number one. But after we finish the deck, staining the deck, then we'll get to sit down and figure out what games we're going to and all that other kind of stuff. So it is interesting. Metcalf versus Brown. What else do we got? Ryan, he said, did you know Ryan Fitzpatrick was our quarterback the last time the Titans played the Seattle Seahawks? That's a fun fact. I didn't know. I do remember, if you go back and watch that game, though, that is the game where Sherman and Lewan and Sherman and Mariota all get into it because Sherman hit him late out of bounds. So that was, and I did not expect it to beat Seattle then, and we did. We shocked Seattle and we beat them, so that's a good point. So that's week 2. Then we move on to week 3, which got all these fired up. Hopefully we don't have any problems today. The Colts. Now this one I got circled on my calendar, okay? Because this game could be the game to set the tone for the year. There's 2 different scenarios I'm looking for here. Number 1, the Colts, as Titans and Drew said, could be 0-2. They start off the year with Seattle at home, and then they play the Rams at home. Now, the Rams are coming off a Monday night game in week 1 against the Bears, and I think the Rams are going to be pretty good this year. Their defense is very good, and I think Stafford makes their offense a little bit better than for what was going on last year. But do the Rams travel well? I think they beat the Bucs last year, if I'm not mistaken. Having to travel all the way to Tampa Bay. But usually the Rams, this game might be a little more suspect for me to think the Rams could go into Indy and win. But I'm hoping that Indy at least splits or loses both. That's why this game is going to be so important, because the Titans, we think it realistically, are probably going to be 1-1 at this point. Yes, they could be 2-0, like some of you are saying, Unknown 13 saying we could go 3-0 here. But I realistically think the Titans will come back to Nissan Stadium and be 1-1, beat Arizona, lose to Seattle. this game's going to be huge to get the leg up on the division, to start the Colts 1-2, possibly 0-3. I know they could theoretically win the first 2 games as well, but this is just going to be huge in a nutshell. And again, Colts, Titans at Nissan Stadium. I mean, a couple years ago, I thought we would have won that game. I think that's when the whole place almost lit on fire. It's just, actually, I'm sorry, wrong year. Last year was the Thursday night game where we decided to switch punters and bring in the guy who, oh my God, was an 18-yard punt. Anyways, that changed the game, and we ended up losing to the Colts because we just kind of fell apart in the second half. So, again, predicting anything, or Billy's right, anything early is silly. But, I mean, this is the point to break down the schedule. It just came out, so it's like a new Christmas toy or whatever you want to say. We just want to see, how it works and all that stuff. But, yeah, Colts week 3, definitely think this is going to be a big measuring stick for the Titans. But I think it's a game where you got to set the tone. You got to say, hey, Colts, right now I hear a lot of chirping from Colts fans. It's okay. I get it. Colts fans really think they're going to bring it this year. Last year was a fluke. They really shouldn't have lost to Jacksonville week 1. And they really felt that was their division. Titans end up getting the division. Both teams finished 11-5. So I really think this is going to be one of those games. Titans got to win. Protect your home turf. Start the season 2-1. And let's go, right? If you're supposed to be a Super Bowl team, this is one of the games you're going to have to win. You got to start in your division. The next week, we move on to the Jets. Now, the Jets game, for me, you're going to be playing Wilson at this point, obviously. All these games seem to be at noon, by the way. So it's at New York. You're going to get your little stretch where you play at New York and then you play at Jacksonville. The Titans got to win these games. I mean, these are, I wouldn't say must wins, but you can make your life a lot easier by winning the next 2 games. Okay? No matter what happens in the first 3 weeks, no matter what happens with 6 through 10, weeks 4 and 5 are games on the schedule that you got to win. They're road games, but they're games you should win. Vrabel will have a plan to beat Wilson. Vrabel will also have tape on Wilson playing in the first couple games. So that's a good thing for the Titans, right? Probably didn't want to play the Jets week 1, the unknown, and you probably didn't want to play them later on in the season. They're going to give you their best test. Week 4, I think that's a good fit for them. Then we move on to Jacksonville, which I know the Jaguars, they're young. They're going to have Trevor Lawrence. They are going to surprise some teams. But the Titans, for the mission they're on, a fun fact for you, we play the Jacksonville Jaguars on 10-10, and we play the Jaguars on 12-12. It's a true story. So, again, we play the Jaguars on 10-10, and we play them on 12-12. Just something I noticed. But I think Jacksonville, it's a division game. You saw what happened last year. Indy went to Jacksonville and lost week 1, cost them the division. Titans got to take care of business, and I think they will. I do. I really, really do. This one's an interesting game. I believe it's Columbus Day weekend. I could be wrong. So that might open up the doors if those of you get Columbus Day off still. Who knows? That maybe some of you guys will have a little bit of a gap and might be a traveling to a nice place in Jacksonville to relax. Hopefully we can relax on as far as a win, so to speak. But that's Jacksonville week 5. And you guys can definitely comment what you're thinking. I'll definitely put it on the screen. Dat Kid 22 says, we used to be one of the strongest second half teams. That's a good point. Anvil C6 says, at Nissan, always Colts. Titans seem to play better in Indy, and that's a good point. I don't know why that is. At least the last couple years, right? I mean, before it was like Titans couldn't take care of business at home. They would fall apart late in games. And then when they went to Indianapolis, even though we might be a little hot at times, Indianapolis would come out and just destroy us with TY and Luck. So, again, Colts, Titans, it's going to come down to us. I firmly believe that. So I think this thing could go all the way again to week 18. Mr. Clean the House says Jags are a joke. ATM, we not worried about them. They can always get somebody, though. Remember week 3 a couple years ago on Thursday Night Football? Didn't show up for that game, and Minshew Mania, they stuck it to us. So, again, moving on. That's Jacksonville. week 5. So week 6 is when everything kind of hits us, right? This is when the interesting part of the party starts. Buffalo on a Monday Night Football. It's nice to have a Monday night game and a Thursday night game at home, I will say that. So you bring in the Bills. First thing that I think of are the Bills for real. Last year, they were a surprise. We know that we struggled with the Bills the 2 years, 3 years before that. Last year, we blew them out. I mean, we had no practices. Everybody was kind of writing us off, and the Titans just destroyed them. Realistically, I mean, one of the few teams to keep Allen in check. Derrick Henry did his thing. Ryan Tannehill did his thing, and the defense played pretty well. And the defense don't usually play well last year, and they played well in this game, and they played well against the Ravens to end the season. So it is one of those things where when you look at the Buffalo Bills on paper, they're pretty good. I think they will be good. I think right now, if I had them, if I had to rank the teams, and I'm not going to rank the Titans just for the simple fact I don't want to be biased at this point. I want to have some time to think about it. But obviously, Kansas City would be 1. And Cleveland, I think, is number 2. And I think Buffalo at this moment in time would be my 3. That's, again, Titans wouldn't be included in that because I haven't had time to really digest everything. But I would say this. I think the Titans are right up there with the Bills. Beat them last year handily. I think we can beat them again. But again, you're going to have to do it at home. It seems like we play the Bills every single year. Oiler Titan, thank you, because I was just looking for that information. He said in 3 games, Titans Bills haven't scored more than 16 versus Titans versus Josh Allen at quarterback. 2018, 13, 2019, 14, 2020, 16. Josh Allen, overrated quarterback in the league. So the Titans have done a good job against Allen, no question about that. But he does own the record, 2-1 against the Titans. So you do have to put that in perspective. I mean, 1 year he beat us with 86 yards throwing. Like, he can still get the job done. It's the Titans offense that's got to get the ball rolling. And again, wide receiver number 2, tight end number 1. It's going to be questioned all season long. And I hope by this point in time, week 6, I'll be like, yeah, that Reynolds dude, he's a legit number 2. Because if I'm saying that, then I think the Titans offensively are going to be very, very good. Let's just say that, especially with Derrick Henry and that offensive line. I mean, that offensive line, pretty solid. So super pumped about that. So that's the Bills week 6, Monday Night Football. How excited are you for that game? I also heard, I think his name's Briley or something. Yeah, I heard he's pretty good. The tight end from Kansas State. And I think we have another tight end and a fullback from LSU as well. Cadero says we will sweep the AFC East and go 2-2 against the NFC West. The NFC West is very tough. I will say that. NFC West, super tough. Yes, we also got the Alabama tight end. Good point. I couldn't remember where he's from, but very, very good point. I would love to be in regular. I would love to be a regular upload. Anything I can do to help the chase. Thanks so much, Sin City. I know Sin City does a lot behind the scenes, especially on the Flick Chat app during the season when that thing's cranking out. Sin City's always on there posting comments, feedback, all that kind of stuff. So shout out to him. Josh says Bills at Titans Monday Night Football. Be a cool game to go to, hopefully. Just got to stay a little bit away from those Bills guys, man. They jump through tables, all that kind of stuff. Jay says the Jags, some good young weapons. Their defense is going to be a question mark, and if they can't stop Derrick Henry. Upload, I'm finding you at the Colts game for an autograph pick, please. It would make my year. Hey, Corey, the Nashville Colts game or the one in Indy? Because Indy's actually closer to my house, believe it or not. Indy's actually only like 3.5, 4 hours from my house. Nashville's about 7.5, so just throw that out there to you. Billy's right, we did pick up the Ohio State kicker. I mean, it's between him and the Missouri guy for right now. Tucker McCann, so we'll see what happens with that. Austin, I definitely think the Colts will win the AFC South. Hey, as long as you beat the Colts, man, and do your part, I can't really get mad at, and who knows, maybe we'll meet up for number 3 years in a row in the playoffs. All been pretty good. I mean, I know the first game in the playoffs, the Titans kind of had your number, but last year was a pretty good one. You definitely had our number 2 after we could not score after the first quarter, believe it or not. You guys shut the door down and did enough on offense. All right, so we'll go to week 7. Hopefully I got enough voice to carry on. I'm out of water. It's not good, man. It's not good. I am definitely trying. Definitely tighten up that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'd love to have you. We're pushing towards 7,000, believe it or not. 7,000. Kind of crazy here. Who would have thought, right? When after the first month we had 5. And one was me and one was my wife and that kind of stuff. And we're all the way up to almost 7,000. So you guys, shout out to all of you. Titans are 2-bag AFC South Division champs. Let's hope. Gostkowski, I haven't heard anything on him. I have not heard anything on him. So we'll see what happens with the kicking situation. All right, so we move on then to week 7. So here comes the tough grind, so to speak, the Chiefs. Now, I don't know how you want to look at this game. Again, it's like the Chiefs are the face of the AFC, and the Titans, like, the question is, does anybody take them seriously from the media standpoint? And it just frustrates the heck out of me that, again, another situation where the Titans and Chiefs meet up, and it's not a 325 game. It's not a primetime game. I know we got 3 primetime games, but this is definitely a good game on paper. Now, what the media won't tell you is kind of the past between these teams. They'll only focus on the now and how great Mahomes is, and I understand that. But since we look at everything on this channel, you have to go back to the last 5 times we've played the Chiefs, and the Titans have won 4 of them. They've been some really close nail biters. They really have. We remember the win in the playoffs where we came back. We remember the Kalu blocked field goal at the end to preserve the win at Nissan Stadium the last time we played them at home. We remember the playoff game, which the one where we won, which we make sense, but the one we lost, the game was somewhat close at halftime. I mean, if that long run doesn't happen, the Titans go in the halftime break winning, I believe, right? And then you kind of go back to the 52, 53-yard field goal by Suck-Up to beat them in the regular season. And then you go back to when I think it was even Locker beat them in like the 2012. I know that's way back there, but the point of the story is this. The Tennessee Titans do well against the Chiefs, and it's because of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's had some of his biggest games against the Chiefs. And when the Chiefs stop Derrick Henry for the most part, the Chiefs end up winning. So we'll see what happens in this game. Again, it could get maybe if the flexing works itself out, but you got to figure the Chiefs are already flexed to the max. So it's probably not going to happen. But maybe this game, the Titans are really, really good at this point. Chiefs are good, and maybe they move it to like a 325 game. That would be okay with me. So that's the Chiefs. Then we move on to the Colts on Halloween. How exciting is this? So we move on to the Colts, and this one's going to come down to very interesting, can you sweep them? If you take care of business week 3 and you can go to Indy and sweep them, I would say it's too early to say we buried the Colts, but it could definitely give you a leg up on the opponent. Again, when I look at Indy's schedule, Seattle, Los Angeles Rams, weeks 1 and 2 at home. Then they're at Tennessee, at Miami, at Baltimore. Week 3 through week 5. At Tennessee, at Miami, at Baltimore. Then they play the Texans. We don't know if Watson will be playing in that game. If he does play, though, the Texans will give the Colts a challenge. They give us a challenge. They give the Colts a challenge. Then they play week 7 at San Francisco and then play Tennessee at home. And then week 9 and 10, they play the Jets and the Jaguars, but then they finish off week 11 and 12, Bills at Bills, and then they play Tampa Bay early. We thought they'd play Tampa Bay in like week 18, which Tampa Bay could be resting their starters. Not the point. Week 12, right in the middle of the season, and then their Colts bye doesn't come till week 14. So we might think, hey, for us, week 13 is very, very late. Colts is actually later, week 14. So again, this is a game that is not going to destroy the Titans if they lose, and it's not going to destroy the Colts if they lose, but it is one of those games that the Titans can definitely get a leg up on the competition, and we're really going to see what Wentz is. Like, Wentz had a pretty good game when he played in Nashville a couple years ago for the Eagles. I know he was strip sacked, and Mariota came back and beat him to Corey Davis in the touchdown in overtime. But Carson Wentz, coming off an injury where I believe he did not play the week before against the Colts, if I'm not mistaken here, he played pretty well for his first game back. So that's going to be interesting. And the Colts offensive line, bringing in the Chiefs left tackle, Fisher, I don't know if he'll be ready in the start of the season, but, man, they're going to need him. Looking at that schedule, they're definitely going to need him. So I think it's a good pick. He was one of the guys I was thinking about the Titans could bring in if they had the cap room. Unfortunately, we don't have cap room. We go the draft route. I still think Eric Fisher is going to be pretty good left tackle in this league when he's healthy. So the Colts are banking on when he's healthy is earlier than not. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll get some more of your comments here. Alex says, I've been told multiple people that the Titans will never win a Super Bowl because we're too small market of a team. Alex, once the season plays, this is my scenario to this, and I'll switch screens real quick. This, to me, could happen, right? The Titans playing in a small market should not impact them winning the Super Bowl. You could argue free agents, but when you look at the Tennessee Titans, I think a couple things. Number one, who wouldn't want to play with Derrick Henry? But number two, defensively, they could build something. Once the games start, it doesn't matter if you're on prime time or you play 325. It's just who's playing you this week, and you line up and you beat them, and that's what you got to do. Game of the week. So thrilled we got one. Before going on this show, before the schedule broke, made that little preview video, I did not think there was any chance we'd get a Sunday night game. I just didn't. But there was one thing that was intriguing. Jackson, what's going on? He says he's not happy with the Colts games. They look tough. The beginning's definitely tough. And Chad says, I want to see us destroy Jameis Winston. Anyways, so when we look at the Titans going to the Rams here, I'm shocked that we got one. I'm excited, though, but definitely shocked. And can't wait to see that stadium. I know Ken Moore's trying to get to that game. I got family out there. Shout out to my cousin Chris, lives in San Diego. But it's just probably not going to happen where it falls on the 11-7. But when you look at the actual primetime games, the news broke early that we were going to have a Thursday night game against 49ers at home. We're going to have a Monday night football game at home against the Bills. Usually you don't see one team get all home primetime games. It just doesn't happen unless you're the Chicago Bears. So I kind of thought there might be a Monday night game in there. And you were seeing Washington playing the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and you're like, wait, what? So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to get the Rams. I know they want to show that stadium off with full capacity instead of, having nobody show up to those games because of the sickness thing. But I'm thrilled. But I'm worried about this game. Don't play well out west, just like with Seattle. Stafford's a good quarterback. We beat him the last two times we've played him with Detroit. One came down to the wire. Andre Johnson catch the game-winning touchdown for Mariota. You remember that was like a 15-13 game or something? And then last year it was kind of sluggish in the beginning, but we did end up pulling away from the Lions. But this is one of those games that you could be surprised. It's in that realm of possibility. Let me throw this up on the screen here, where the Titans just get freaking hot. Like, let's put this in perspective. Let's throw out this scenario. I don't really care what happens week 1 through 3 in this scenario, but we'll just say let's say the Titans are 2-1. Okay. I don't care which teams. I mean, obviously I want to beat the Colts, but from week 1 and week 2, I don't really care. So we're 2-1. Beat the Jets. Ooh, now you're feeling really good. Beat the Jaguars. So now you're technically 4-1. Then you go in and beat the Bills, and whatever about the Chiefs. If you beat the Colts, you're going into that Rams game. That feels different, If it plays out where like you beat the Bills, you lose to the Chiefs, and you lose to the Colts, and now you split with the Colts, and now you're going, okay. But I'm telling you what, if the Titans get hot down the stretch, win what? Let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5, okay? Something like that. 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6. Going in that Rams game, number one, the attention might actually be on the Titans, which is probably not a good thing for us. But you don't know what the Rams are going to do, right? You don't know what the Rams are going to be like in this scenario, in this situation. So, Stafford could be ailing a little bit, could be hurt up, could be beat up a little bit. Are they going to be able to get the running game going? What's that offense going to look like? It wasn't necessarily the greatest, since, when McVay came in the league, it was just unbelievable. It's their defense that's really, really good. You know what I mean? Donald's really, really good. So again, when you put this in, I do feel like the Titans probably lose this game because, again, it is out west. But I just feel like if the Titans can come in hot, maybe that changes some things. Maybe it changes some things. And you guys are making good points too. Farley will be more healthy at this point. You're hoping, right? Bud Dupree should be in his progression where he's feeling really, really good at this point. And who knows? Maybe got some surprises. Maybe Rashaan Evans is playing better. Maybe Byard's taken off again because he's got a pass rush. Maybe Tannehill's on a hot streak. Maybe Derrick Henry's running over everybody again, which we're hoping for. Maybe this is the payback game from Reynolds. Maybe he comes out and shows up. So, again, week 9, super thrilled to have this matchup. I honestly was hoping for a home Sunday night game, but, again, I'm not going to get a Sunday night game and be the face of the week. It doesn't always happen, so I'm going to be grateful. Jeff says with the Titans taking Farley, Titans market just got larger. Expect party buses to show up, Virginia plates. I like it. And then Barnes Boy says, what's up, Titan? Hope your week's going well. Hey, good to see you. Man, hope you guys figure out that Aaron Rodgers situation, but how do you feel about your schedule? I mean, we're talking Sunday night game. We all remember what happened last year when we played Green Bay, right? Unknown says, let Tannehill come in hot and win MVP. I mean, at that point, they'd be talking about him for sure. So good point there. Good point. I'm confident that the Titans can beat the Rams. And let's see, Shane says you should be more mad at me than... Okay, I'm not sure about that one. Anyways, Oiler Titan says the Titans will run the Rams into the ground. I hope so. But again, doesn't matter who you throw out at the Titans out west. Cardinals, back in the day. 49ers, which were awful back in the day, don't usually play well in Seattle. Never played well in San Diego. It's just something about playing out west. The only team we can somewhat beat every now and then was the Raiders. So until we can get over that threshold, I'm still not going to be too optimistic. Be cautiously optimistic. All right, then we move week 10. It's back to the Saints. I kidded on Mr. Titan's channel. I said, well, could Drew Brees be back out of retirement? Here's my Tim Tebow comment for the day. If Tim Tebow can come out of retirement at age 33, season starts will be 34. Why can't Drew Brees come back? Maybe he's away for a while. Maybe Winston's struggling and comes Brees. So actually, I'm not going to say that's not out of the realm of possibility, but I would say this. The Saints are still a good football team. I know it's easy to get kind of on the Jameis Winston and yada, 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 but again, every now and then Jameis Winston has a good game. When he played at Nissan Stadium the last time with the Bucs, actually, was he on the Saints when the Saints came in? But when he was with the Bucs, you guys remember that game. That game came down to the wire, and if it wasn't for that controversial call at the end that went our way when they blew up, oh my goodness, Kern on the, I don't even know what we were doing on that fake field goal, whatever we were doing. I mean, that game came down to the wire. Winston did just enough. He torched us with Evans. So, it is possible he could come in and have a really good game. They have a very good running attack. They have a very good passing attack. Their defense is pretty good. Their corners are pretty good. So, again, I know we got Jenkins now from them. I know they got Winston they're going to try it out there, but I still don't think this is going to be a cupcake by any means. Then we move on week 11. I really can't comment too much because I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. If it's Davis Mills, that's one thing. Tyrod Taylor, that's another thing. But if it's Deshaun Watson, we know it's going to be a fight. We know it's going to come down to the wire. Always does. We'll say this. The Titans run it down their throat every time they play. So until the Texans can actually fix that problem, and the sad part is, from the Titans' perspective, is Derrick Henry's rushed over 200 yards like the last couple times he's played them in each game. And the Titans could have lost both those games, right? They've always come down to the wire. Shows you just how good Watson really is. But I can't really comment because I don't know who their quarterback's going to be at this point. So we'll move on. Week 12, go to New England. Ken Moore brought this up on Mr. Titans channel. The Patriots play a Thursday night game the week before we play them. So they will have 10 days rest. Belichick will have 10 days rest. And you know there's going to be a little bit of revenge factor for that playoff loss. I know they have their mind more on Brady, but I do think this is going to be one of those games where New England will definitely come in and throw everything at us, and the Titans better be ready. So we got Derrick Henry. We hope he's, at this point, priming up, ready to go. We do have the bye coming up. So are the Titans, again, listen to Sirius Radio this morning, they made a really, really good point about, I think they had Pioli on there, but he basically said, former GM, by week 10, week 11, the team, if they haven't got a bye, they're just exhausted. Like they're running on fumes at this point. You're hoping the Titans, according to Vrabel's style with how he gives guys time off and stuff like that and practices a lot. Like he always, with A.J. Brown's issues with his feet, his ankles, we saw this with Corey Davis. He just some Wednesday wouldn't show up to practice and they kept him out. They're going to be cautious with this team, I think, for the most part. It is a long, long season, but you got to at least put that in perspective. The late bye really going to start showing up weeks 11, week 12, week 13, and the ability for the Titans. Or I shouldn't say week 13 because that is the bye, right? Anyways, moving on. Next game would be the bye week 13. And then we move on to play the Jaguars. So, again, get the Jaguars at home. I mentioned earlier we play them 10-10 and 12-12. So, there's not much more to say on this. We got to beat them at home. Then we move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't usually play well at Pittsburgh. It's just the fact. We don't play well at West. We don't play well at Pittsburgh. But it's got to change this year, guys. It's got to change. We have to go into Pittsburgh. I think Big Ben's going to this is pretty much it for him. This is his last stand. Will Najee Harris take off for the running department? We'll see. Schuster, is he going to get his act together? Who knows? Defense, I think they took a step back by losing Dupree. I really do. And they lost some other components for that defense. I think if you're the Titans, you're the better team. You should be the better team. You should go in and beat them in Pittsburgh. So, again, it's a noon game. For them, for the Titans, it's whatever. They play most of their games at noon. For Pittsburgh, they got 5 primetime games. So who knows? Every once in a while, Pittsburgh loses a game at home or plays like garbage at home. Maybe this is the game where they play like garbage and the Titans go in and just destroy them. But remember, the Titans missed the field goal opportunity last year. They didn't play well in the first half. They played a really good second half. They just fell a little bit short. I think the Titans would have matched up great against Pittsburgh in week 1 in the playoffs. Fortunately, we got Baltimore. We know how that story went. But this is one of those games I think the Titans got to go in and win if they really are Super Bowl contenders. We've already broke this game down with San Francisco. They actually play Sunday at home. I think it's like a 3:25 game. I know it's 1:25 there. But then they have to get on a plane and go to Nashville on a short week and play us on Thursday night. That is a note to keep, that's an important note, I think, going into this matchup. With the San Francisco 49ers. The question I have for you guys is, do you want Garoppolo or do you want Trey Lance? That would be something that I don't have an answer for. I kind of back and forth on that one. So we'll see what happens. But again, I really don't have anything. Let's see. I went to school with Kamara. That's cool. I wish maybe we can get him on the show. I don't know. Do you have his number? You can call him and see if he wants to be a guest. He can be your guest, Cassie, and then we'll talk to him a little bit, and then who knows? So let me know. Maybe we can pull that off. Let's see. Vrabel just straight up coaches Belichick when he does, but you are giving Belichick a little bit more, I don't know, rest, or not rest, but more advanced. And Belichick doesn't take any days off. Love the lack of respect. We will be better than last year coming off 11-5. I'll take it. So, I think it's Titans and it's the Colts. Titans and Colts. It could honestly go either way. If Wentz is very, very good, Colts, their defense we know is already good. The Titans improve their defense, but until we actually see it, we still have to go with the Colts having the better defense. Offensively, I think the Titans do things better that they are really, really good at, like running the football or on third down or play action pass. But I think the Colts, now that we'll have Mack back, they got Taylor in the backfield. They got a lot's going to fall on Wentz. It's going to be exciting, but I do think it's still coming down between the Titans and the Colts to win the division. Garoppolo, because Lance is playing, it probably means he's a beast. And that's in one or two ways, right? Either the Niners are done and out, so they're going to go with the youth, or Lance beat him out early, and now he's on fire, and he's the next Mahomes. We don't know at this point. Is the Bears, had a bad first half. The offseason, I think Garoppolo will be traded to the Bears. It's an interesting one. With Fields? Like, if we go back and we think about who needs quarterbacks, Denver does. I know that they went out and got Bridgewater. You could argue maybe Carolina needs one if they're not sold on Darnold. But yeah, I think I would pretty much guess the Bears are set with Fields at this point. Rossini, yes, believes the Titans will be better. She was getting into it the other night. Who was the one? Is it Mika or Mina or something like that? Who nothing but shade on the Titans, man. And then said they weren't going to make the playoffs, and then even bashed the AFC South when she was done and said basically this is one of the most terrible divisions in football. And I just kind of had to laugh at that comment because the Colts and Titans, last time I checked, won combined 22 games just by themselves. So we can't be that bad of a division. So I don't see that. Timmy says, I see anywhere between 9 and 12 wins. We'll have to compete in training camp. Colts, the check down team, will stink at covering the running back. That's a good point. Let's move on here. Let's see. Finally getting towards the end. So thanks for sticking with us tonight. Dolphins. The Dolphins were really good last year, had a very good chance to make the playoffs and end up laying an egg in Buffalo. But a lot of what happened in Miami is they don't have that fallback this year. They don't have Fitzpatrick. They are all in on Tua, and Tua's got to be that guy. Now, they're going to have to be better in the run department, but their defense is definitely solid. Flores, very good head coach for Miami. So Miami's going to be one of those teams. Like, there are teams that progress and they're moving in the right direction and they get better each year. But then there are teams that kind of show promise and then come back the next year and kind of fall flat, right? So, we've seen this many times. I would argue Cleveland every once in a while, even though Cleveland's mostly bad, but I think Cleveland's going to be pretty good this year. Buffalo for a couple years ago kind of seemed like they were moving in the right direction, and they made the playoffs with us. They ended up losing to Jacksonville, and then we ended up losing to New England in the next round. But then they kind of hit or miss. So it is very interesting when you kind of look at this. The Bears kind of fit that narrative too. Like, they were how many wins did the Bears have? Lost the Eagles in the triple doink by Parkey, and then the next year, I know some injuries, they fall flat. So can the Dolphins take that next step? I think that's what I'm kind of getting at. And then finally, to finish up the year at Houston again, it's hard to comment. It's just we've played Houston at Houston the last 3 years, so it is like the last and on week 18. I know we play Houston every year, one at home and one away, but it just seems like we always play Houston last game of the season. And the last 3 have been at Houston. So the Colts will play at the Jaguars in Week 18. So we did it. We got through the schedule. There it is with everything right in front of you. It's like one of the few times where I've put together a graphics package and it did not blow up in my face. So, again, we're at 126. Thanks for being here. But we are just about done. We will take your comments. If you got any comments, Seneca says we got this. Seneca says we're getting old Bengals tight end in free agency. It would be nice to get, I forgot his name, Eifert. I would, but I don't know how much money he's going to cost. I don't think we really have a lot of money. Tannehill can catch too if we need him to see it. Yeah, thanks, Sin City. Says tighten up that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We'd love to have you here on the channel. We've got a lot to break down in this offseason, let me tell you. So Freddie says tighten up, Sin City. Let's roll. Wildcat fake, NFL fake, Jags, let's go. Lawrence Williamson says if the Titans are going to be a top 10 on offense, the defense improves 15 to 20, we'll be 12-5, tighten up. At this point, and Jeff's right, Fins do look scary, and I think they have a decent shot to win the AFC East. I agree with you, Jeff. But when we look at this Titans schedule, just that, when we kind of broke it down a while ago, a couple months ago, it was like, I thought it's tough, and I still kind of view it that way. But, on the other end, you're supposed to be this. I just view the Titans the same every year. It's just probably the problem I have. Like every year that we go in, I'm always optimistic. Even when we're not good, when we had the 2-win season, the 3-win seasons, I still was optimistic going into the season. I get really fired up. I remember the locker game, speaking of which, where we go in and beat the Chiefs like 26-12 in week 1. And the Chiefs were supposed to be good. And then we played Dallas in week 2 at our home opener. And I remember Dallas played the 49ers at home, and the 49ers were very bad that year. And they were coming in as a bad team. And the Cowboys end up losing to the 49ers in week 1. So I'm thinking, hey, the Titans are going to be 2-0. Locker, yes. We go into the Cowboys and we play a pathetic game. DeMarco Murray tries to help us out. I think he fumbled early, but DeMarco had a nice game, and we end up losing, and then all of a sudden the losses pile up. So it doesn't matter what year it is. I'm always going to be optimistic. But when we broke down the schedule earlier before we actually knew the dates and when they lined up, we came to 10-7. We came to 10-7. Now I'm going to run through them just for fun. This is not my final. I always try to come out with I hit it the first year. The second year I said 10-6. We ended up 11-5, so it was close. But when I look at this schedule, the Cardinals is a must win. We got to win that game. I mean, I know it's week 1, but I mean, if you're the team you're supposed to be, you got to beat the Cardinals. I shouldn't say must win, but you got to beat the Cardinals. Week 2, I think it's a loss. I do. So we're 1-1. Week 3 it's too early to call it a must win. It's too early to say for all the marbles. But again, you're at home. You know what's coming up week 6 through week 10. And you can argue that maybe it starts week 7 because maybe you feel like the Titans have the Bills' number for how everything went last year, even though the Bills beat us like 2 or 3 years in a row before that. But if you can beat Indianapolis and you take care of business against the Jets and the Jaguars like you should, you're facing quarterbacks who are rookies early on in the season, which is better. Very able to be prepared. And Schwartz and Bowen. But you could start the season 4-1. And where the Colts, sorry, I have their schedule still pulled up. Seattle Rams, let's say they split there, lose to the Titans, so that's 1-2. At Miami, let's say they lose that one, and at Baltimore, which I don't think they match up very well against Baltimore. So that would be 1-4. If you could start 4-1 and they start 1-4, things look awfully different now week 6 through 10, right? Like you got a little bit of wiggle room, and they still got to play at San Francisco, which will be tough early in the year, at Buffalo, and then the Bucs. So they do get the Bucs at home, which is an important fact. Again, I'm not saying the Colts are going to go 1-4. I actually think the Colts will be around 3-2, but I'm just telling you that just in my example, I think those kind of how I think that's just such a big game against the Colts because it's going to like could catapult you into a nice 3, possibly 4 game win streak. Then we play Buffalo. Oh man, Buffalo revenge, Josh Allen, but I think our defense is better and we still can run the football. So I'm going to say we beat the Bills. Chiefs, it's Mahomes. The refs love Mahomes. The media loves Mahomes. Half of Nashville at this game probably going to love Mahomes just because as a season ticket holder, you know that a lot of the opposing fans will find ways to get to that game, and the Titans fans should show up in waves, but we know that sometimes it's hit or miss with our own fans showing up. So I'm just going to go with the Chiefs. And then in week 8, we do play well at Indy, but I'll just give the benefit of the doubt to Indy because it's a split situation. So if we win week 3, they'll win week 8. If we lose week 3, we'll win week 8. Go to the Rams. We don't play well out west. I'm going to say that's a loss. And then I'm going to say we find a way to beat the Saints. So out of my first 10, I have 3 losses, so 7-3. Then we move on to the Texans. I think we beat them. So we're 8-3. We go on to New England. I don't like this game because it's right before a bye, and a lot of attention is going to be on where you're going. So it's like you get a little bit of a break. And some people are going to be leaving. Some people are going to be going on vacations with their family. And you're playing the Patriots, who are going to be well-rested, and you are not going to be well-rested. So give me the Patriots in this one. The bye week, then we're going to play Jacksonville and Pittsburgh. I got back-to-back wins. San Francisco coming off the short rest. Got a win there. Playing Miami at home. Great defense. Oh, my goodness. Like, I want to say we're going to win that game. I think we're going to start to be in playoff form. But give me the Dolphins, and then we beat the Texans in the last week. So, I don't know. 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3. Oh, 5-4. I was wrong. I'm sorry, because they got back-to-back losses there. So 5-4, 6-4, 7-4, 7-5, 8-4, or 8-5. It's late. I'm sorry. 9-5, 10-5, 10-6, 11-6. I went up 1, and maybe my math's off, but I got us 11-6. That's where, as of right now, things could change. I've not broken anything down. It's way too early, like you guys say, to predict these things. But I just wanted to let you know. I mean, we just broke down them for an hour and a half. You got to be able to have the tools and the personnel to do it, right, Cole? But that does worry me. You know, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis against the Saints in week 15 a couple years ago. Derrick Henry didn't play in that game. So both receivers, if I go and look this up real quick, Saints, Titans, 2019. I want to look at the game recap, but I want to show you my point about the receivers. So Ryan Tannehill was 17 of 27, 3 touchdowns, no picks. However, that Raymond got hit in the head. That's a terrible call. He fumbled. Deion Lewis ran the ball 15 times for 68 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. A.J. Brown had a run for 49 yards. Okay, Dawkins was 9 for 24. Who was the leading receiver in that game? Who was the leading receiver? A.J. Brown? No. Corey Davis? No. Okay. Jonnu Smith? No. Okay. It was Tajay Sharp. Tajay Sharp caught 5 balls for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tajay Sharp at that moment in time would have been your third wide receiver. Your third wide receiver. So now, if you think about it, that's got to be Des Fitzpatrick or Westbrook or whoever. My point is this. A.J. Brown had 1 catch for 34 yards. Corey Davis had 3 catches for 40 yards. So those 2 guys combined had 4 catches in that game. 4 of them. 4 catches. 4 catches. So, again, when you play those type of corners who are going to be in your face, the man-to-man, kind of bump and run you a little bit there, and if you're going to double team A.J. Brown, that Baltimore game does scare me because they definitely took away Derrick Henry. But why I'm not as concerned as maybe I should be is because I don't think a lot of teams, every team tries to do that against the Titans. I just don't think every team can pull it off. And there's always something wrong. They don't have the safeties to do it. They don't have the corners to do it. They don't have the linebackers to do it. They don't have the defensive line to do it. They don't have the pass rush to do it. You got to have a full everything going well to stop Derrick Henry like that. I mean, the Chiefs threw a lot at Derrick Henry, but the Chiefs were pretty solid in the second half of the year when they beat us in the AFC Championship game. Their defense was playing a lot better than it was. But I think that's ultimately the issue. Again, long story short, I just don't think it's going to be able to replicate as much as I'm worried about. But it could happen. It could happen. And again, if it happens in the playoffs, you're one and done. So that's where the Reynolds and the Ferksers and all those guys are really going to have to step up. All right. So if you could do me a favor, definitely tighten up that like button. I gave you 2 hours. It's the best I could do. I'm out of breath. I am out of voice. I don't know. I haven't done this in a while, right? The last time we saw each other, we broke down the draft grades with Broshmo. Give the Texans a C, the Titans an A, Jaguars an A+, and the Colts a C. But like I said, we dove into the schedule. There it is right in front of you. We'll be back Sunday nights to break more stuff down. I'm not sure which direction we're going to go. Definitely tighten up that like button on your way out of here. But you guys are awesome. Thanks for everything. And again, don't forget to tighten up. Take care, guys.